Round 11 of the 2015 FF1M season comes to you from a personal favourite of mine, the Hockenheim ring, more specifically the old one. And for this race I'm being joined by Tobias.
How do you do all?
Myself, not too bad. I imagine even better for yourself because you won the last race at Silverstone, although it was a slightly bittersweet one with Gonzalez crashing out in the closing stages.
Yeah, very much so. I think it was going too well with 10 laps to go. My team absolutely dominated Silverstone on the soft tyre and using a little bit of ERS, and we had the 1-2 in the bag, and Gonzalez under no pressure whatsoever just threw it all away, lost 8 points. However, after that, Sebastian retiring was, a little bit of nice compensation. Sorry, Courtney.
So there's the map of the old Hockenheim circuit, and I'm actually the last winner there with Jenson Button behind the wheel, and funnily enough, he sort of inherited that when Bruno Senna went off at the penultimate corner, driving for yourself.
Yes, that was a bitter pill to swallow. Bruno Senna, he was having a great race last year, leading after lap 10 or so, and then he went off on the penultimate or last corner, and rejoined at the back and had to settle for I think a 7th place or something.
Yeah, and even then he survived a late collision with Fernando Alonso. It's Felipe Massa who takes his first pole position since, believe it or not, Hungary 2005.
Long time.
Very long time, but that's his second career pole, and joined by his teammate Kimi Räikkönen on the front row. Then we got Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz. That's a pretty impressive 4th, and with a Mugen engine in the back of him, he's one to watch. We got Nico Hülkenberg 5th with Alonso 6th, and then we've got Excellite podium finisher Lewis Hamilton starting 7th on the grid, ahead of Robert Kubica in 8th. Then it's an all Pedersen in row 5 with Sergio Perez 9th, ahead of Roman Grosjean 10th. 11th on the grid is Thomas Gonzalez, ahead of Nico Rosberg, possibly the unluckiest driver of the season so far. Then row 7 sees Kevin Magnussen and Cooper Lee alongside each other. Quick word, I am running full engine mode, so Magnussen's engine may go pop.
Me too.
And that's mode 3 for Tornado as well. Jean-Eric Verne will start 15th, ahead of Stoffel Vandoorne 16th, another unlucky driver. Itsuki Yoshida will start 17th, ahead of Valtteri Bottas in 18th. And in the final 4 places, they're occupied first by Daniel Ricciardo, Jenson Button, and then on the last row, Charlotte Plectrum and Antonio Felix da Costa.
Oh, it gets me every time you say Charlotte Plectrum.
I know. A little inside joke between me and the Frenchman.
No, at least he's not last, I suppose.
At least he's not last. I'm running soft tyres on both cars, and looking at the sheet, you're running hards on both.
Yeah, getting it out of the way on the power circuit.
Power circuit indeed. So, 4 lights, 5 lights on, from both Meisters on the front row, and the 5 lights go out, and it was a great launch from Kimi Räikkönen, and he's already trying to get alongside Felipe Massa going into the first corner. I think Vettel's had a good start as well. Around the outside of the Brazilian, into second goes Vettel, but it is Kimi Räikkönen who leads, and here comes Sainz.
And Vettel's going to go alongside Räikkönen. He's going to take the lead. Wow, before the chicane, that's surely a higher engine mode there. At least I hope it is.
Frighteningly fast, and into the first chicane, Massa versus Sainz, and Alonso getting a little bit locked up.
I think he got tapped from behind by Kubica.
We'll have a quick replay of that. There is a spinner at the back. There's some FJRs involved in that. Valtteri Bottas. Magnussen has been involved in a bit of an incident with Bottas, it seems. And here's Vettel coming under a bit of pressure from Kimi Räikkönen, so the slipstream, it appears to be quite powerful, as Hamilton takes 4th position off of Sainz. That's a good start from Hamilton.
Not a particularly good start for Gonzalez down in 16th. He was 11th on the grid, so again, a bit like Road America, losing as many as 5 places in quick time.
And speaking of 5, that's how many Magnussen has lost, down from 13th to 18th. And was there some movers going on? I'm not sure, but anyway, here's Fernando Alonso in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz going into the stadium.
Ooh, he's going to make that stick.
Still side by side into the Sachs curve.
Oh, this is going to be tight.
He's got
He's done it. Wow. That's impressive. Maybe to do with my team using the highest engine mode, but still was getting a bit tight there. Alonso up to 5th, that's good. Not so good, Vettel leading and pulling away, so he needs to get a move on.
Another driver getting a move on is a rejuvenated Lewis Hamilton, having finished 3rd last time out at Silverstone. He's looking for 3rd place Massa.
Is that an X-Elite with soft tyres I spot there?
X-Elite is indeed on softs, yes. So, but Button is on mediums, so looks as if they're favouring Hamilton, and it's working.
That's a very rare sight.
Now, I wonder how many manufacturer teams, there's 5 of them, there's Alonso has a move going into the Os curve on Felipe Massa. That's 4th position even before they reach the braking zone.
I can confirm that is fully RS versus no ERS with the same engine.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if all manufacturers have gone Mode 3. That Magnussen had a shocking start, just poor launch and then getting swamped by the field.
Yeah, him and Gonzalez both not having great starts. Yeah, as far as I can see, Gonzalez is still 16th, Magnussen's down in 18th, yeah.
So let's see what happens between Bottas. It's Bottas flying into the first chicane and making contact with somebody, and then Magnussen...
I think it was the Gajira of John-Eric Verne, who also made contact with the shake and bake of Yoshida.
Yeah, and he'd got some aided Verne as well, so Verne also braking very late. This is Nico Rosberg going on Massa, going into the stadium. That's 5th position for the unlucky Willows driver.
That's likely another... Someone's off. That's a GRM. That's a GRM of Sainz.
Now, that's a bit unlucky.
Is he going to get out of there?
And I think a Gajira just got past both Pedersens in amongst that mix as well. That was Verne making his way back up the order.
And he didn't get out. Sainz out of the race.
That is very unfortunate because he was highest of the highest Mugen runner, and we know how powerful the Mugen is in the race, as Alonso has taken 3rd off of Lewis Hamilton, so the Spaniard is on the move.
We're seeing a lot of straight line speed disparities here, aren't we?
Yeah, I think the customers are quite a disadvantage.
Yeah, not being able to use the ERS, although Hamilton's coming back here.
Into the Ost curve.
I think he's going to retake it. Is he always going to lock up? That's going to compromise Alonso's line, but I think he's going to hold on. And now now Hamilton's got the Willows of Rosberg on his chuff. Now he's alongside. I think he'll get him before the braking zone.
That's up to 4th position for Rosberg. Where did he start on the grid? It was 12th on the grid, so that's quite an impressive drive so far.
I only remember it was 12th because Gonzalez was starting alongside him. Speaking of which, he's up to 12th now, so he's recovering from his bad start.
And Hamilton was having a think about having a go back at Rosberg, but thinking better of it, going into the stadium. Here we are on board with Lewis Hamilton, going into the first corner, the Nord curve. That's a bit wide on the apex.
He's going to go wide. That's going to compromise exit. Surely Massa's going to be able to take advantage of that.
The slightly recovering Felipe Massa after being swamped a bit in the opening few laps, but he's getting it back together. 5th position, but can Lewis get it back? It looks as if he can.
Purple helmet driver versus a purple liveried car. I tell you what, if Meister signed Hamilton next season, that and as long as they stuck with a similar livery, that helmet livery combination, that would work wonders.
That would work quite nicely as Kubica makes his way past Nico Hülkenberg for 8th position. Former German Grand Prix winner is Hülkenberg. He won it in 2010 and 2011, I believe.
Yeah, I remember during those couple of seasons, the Mitchell was a front runner, and Hülkenberg did win a few races. Although, to be honest, it seems like a very distant memory at the moment.
Yes, although his most recent win was Spa last season, as he's trying to take Kubica back going into the first Jim Clark chicane, but not quite managing it there. Now he's in the slipstream, going into the Ost curve.
I wonder if the Gajira is using a higher engine mode. sort of a split mind about that, because I don't think they tend to go for higher engine modes.
No, the engine's quite naturally powerful, so they've never really needed to run the maximum engine mode. As we saw Yoshida getting past Cooper Lee, and now Lee's going to lose another position to Jean-Eric Vergne down the straight approaching the Ayrton Senna chicane. That's 10th place for Vergne.
And hopefully soon it'll be 11th for Gonzalez.
Here we are on board with the Argentine as he tries to... Well, Lee's in the slipstream of Jean-Eric Vergne, trying to go back, but Gonzalez is getting a bit boxed in.
Yeah. That slipstream's quite potent, I would say.
It's pretty powerful on these long straights, which is kind of what Hockenheim's all about, really.
Yeah, Cooper Lee there, the slipstream getting that off of Vergne really saved him from getting overtaken by Gonzalez, and now Vergne's going to use the slipstream to stay in front. Is Gonzalez going to take 2 places here? Oh, it's going to be tight. Oh, contact!
More contact, and Gonzalez getting elbowed off the circuit and rejoin right into the path of Kevin Magnussen.
Definitely drew the short straw there.
In fact, that was started by Vergne locking up and tagging the back of Cooper Lee, and then Lee sort of struggled to slow it down a bit, and then got himself into an elbow match. There's more elbows. Sorry about that, Kevin.
He's make another mistake.
I think Kevin nudged the back of Gonzalez, but no harm done in the end.
I don't know what has happened to Gonzalez in recent races. He's just not been on it at all. I mean, he had good pace in the Silverstone race, but then threw it all away. So therefore it counted for nothing.
And look at it, Charles Pic just trying to...
Gerard's off. And,
many positions. Charles Pic was really going for it then.
Almost unsafe rejoin on the track there by Bottas. Jean-Eric Vergne's going to go off and into the wall, and I would say maybe that's a little bit of karma.
A little bit, yes. So Jean-Eric Vergne out of the race from... That was 11th position, and we've got some... Now, we were warned about this by AJ, that there was some lost footage, and here it must be.
Uh-oh.
So Rosberg passes and pulls over to the racing line in front of Alonso in the braking zone. Alonso hits Rosberg. Right. That's not good news.
Oh, great. Fabulous. Oh man, Jesus Christ. That could not have been worse, that. Jesus. Thanks a lot. I suppose it saved me the pain of watching it with my own eyes.
So this is lap 8, and
it's getting worse now. Gonzalez has got a problem. Now he's got the yellow pit thing on the bottom left. Oh my god, this is a disaster.
And he lost a position to Pic, and now he's probably going to lose one to Bottas. Now, can he make the pits, or is the problem going to end up being terminal?
That's the question. Can he make it back to the pits? He's got a long way to go.
Well, I think Magnussen locked up a bit, but I think he got away with it.
I'm not sure he's going to make it. Trundling. This is painful. This is absolutely painful. There's a yellow flag out on the... I'm going to name that corner now. Someone's gone off, I think.
I think in the olden days it was called the Agip curve, so let's have a look in front.
Oh, it's a Perez,
and is that another car off? Is that the recovered Sainz?
Oh, there is 2 cars off. Yeah, there's. I think that's a Mitchell in the gravel trap as well. Yeah, good spot. Blending in so well with the grass.
So Hulkenberg goes off and has his own accident, and then I think Perez just joins him.
2 separate incidents, yeah. Wow.
So we'll see Perez flying into shot sometime soon.
In 3, 2, 1, boom! There we go.
Perfectly timed.
Well, I've got to look at the bright side with how badly my race is going.
Yeah, I mean, Pedersen's season has just gone nowhere since their podiums in Australia for Perez and Portugal for Grosjean. That's kind of been it, really, for them. And Gonzalez has made the pits.
I think he'll do very well to get points from here. Because he still had quite a bit of fuel. He still had quite a bit of fuel on board. And it wasn't even like he was close to his scheduled pit stop.
So he was on a one-stop strategy, wasn't he?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, we were expecting 1 and 2 stops for this race, as Charles Pic is making his move on Daniel Ricciardo and on a one-stop strategy as well. So Pic's actually doing quite well, and just in front is Magnussen. So despite a difficult first lap, FJRs have done not too badly, as Bottas is having a look at Ricciardo now.
I think Gonzalez was on a one stop. Was there going to be a mixture of pit stops in this? Can you remember?
Yes, mixture of 1 and 2 stops. So it'll be interesting to see who does what.
Ah, right. I bet Alonso was on the 2 stop. that
would be Sod's law. As Bottas.
Yeah. Honestly, I think both my drivers will do well to score points from here. Question is, can the shake and bake hold on the reliability? Because I don't think anybody is going to challenge Sebastian at his home Grand Prix at the moment on pace.
8.2 seconds is the gap between Vettel and Raikkonen at the moment. Vettel hasn't actually won his home race at Hockenheim. He's won Nürburgring a couple of times, but not yet Hockenheim.
Shake and bake in trouble here of Yoshida. Is he going to go off or make a mistake? He looks like he's slowing down.
I can see the yellow pit indicator on, so it's a mechanical issue.
Yeah, he's going to make it back to the pits. Well, wrong shake and bake again. Just like Road America or Canada it was, yeah.
Both, actually. As Magnussen is now going to make a move on Cooper Lee into the first corner. Magnussen also won stopping, so FJRs have got some pace this afternoon.
Well, you kind of expect that with the higher engine mode.
Yeah, that is mode 3, is already streaking away from the Mitchell driver. And here's Kimi Raikkonen.
Yeah, looks like Kimi's in for a pit stop.
Definitely looks scheduled because he's only got 2 laps left and it's only lap 12. So it's 2-stop strategy for himself.
Unless it's pure coincidence.
Could be, but I would imagine it is a scheduled stop. It'll be interesting to see what Vettel does as well, if he's 2 or 1 stopping.
Yeah. It's a bit worrying for Raikkonen that he was falling that far back on from Vettel and it was a 2-stop as well.
9 seconds back, so that's purely down to the engine, I think.
Yeah, not being able to use the ERS for customer teams, and that's why we're seeing the rule change for next year.
And some manufacturers are offering some of their ERS to customers. I had offered all of my ERS, but nobody wanted to take me up on that offer. Probably with good reason as well, because the Judd's not the strongest engine in the field.
I wonder why. Speaking of which, though, Pete, that Charlotte Plectrum's now in the points.
He is. He could get his first points of the season if it all goes well, but Cooper Lee is having a go back. And that's back to 8th place for Cooper Lee. Yes, it is, but Plectrum's got another couple of opportunities as into the pits comes Vettel. He's on a 2-stop strategy as well.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better, but yeah, because if he was on a 1-stop and be able to do all that pace, then that would be very alarming.
Quite alarming indeed for yourself. But into the pits he goes, and should rejoin about 4th or 5th position, I think. I think Rosberg's in the pits actually, so
he might even rejoin in the lead here.
6.1 second stop out of the pits on the right hand side.
Yeah, he's
still
in the lead.
That is some first stint for Vettel again.
Wow. Yeah, it is pretty much going to be either a reliability or a mistake, because we have seen quite a few mistakes already, but from the drivers.
Yes, and we're just looking at Van Dorn making a move to 3rd position.
Any contact with? Oh, that's going to be a spin. Is that? Yeah, it's going to be a spin for Kubica. Are they all going to avoid him? He's going to spin it back round and get going again just before the FGR of Magnussen pops into view or gets past him.
Not quite past him yet, but he's in the slipstream for the recovering Kubica.
Got the momentum.
This is where Jenson Button took the lead last season on Romain Grosjean going into the S-curve, and Magnussen has now just taken 6th. But
how much longer though?
But for how much longer? Because Kubica's coming back going into the Senna chicane. Ooh. Magnussen very sensibly leaving room, but hanging around the outside. That was good defensive driving from Magnussen, as here comes Fernando Alonso on Charlotte Plectrum.
So you're using fully RS as well?
Yes.
Oh, this is proper all-out power then.
All-out power on all-out ERS. So
no compromises.
No compromises, and but hard versus soft tyres, but your hards look to be better.
Thankfully, he compromised Pique's line so he couldn't, do a counter move.
And look at Stoffel Vandoorne. He's going to take second position off of Felipe Massa going into the stadium. Oh, that was a close one. Wow, that was...
What is it? What is Joseph Willows told his drivers, man? I mean, moving under the braking zone.
Win or bust. Just go for it. But up to second position goes Stoffel Vandoorne on Felipe Massa. So we've got a shake and make leading from a Willows, 2 Meisters and another Willows. So we've got an interesting running order from Vandoorne back. And look at this slipstream. We've got both Meisters in the slipstream of Vandoorne. Raikkonen having a look at Massa, but Massa's still in the slipstream. And now, chopping again goes Vandoorne.
I would say that was more than one defensive move there.
There is at least 4, I think.
Only 4.
Just the 4 for Vandoorne, as Rosberg is going to take advantage of this squabble to take 4th position off of Kimi Raikkonen going into the Ostkurve chicane. Next target, Felipe Massa.
Now that is a car I wouldn't mind seeing blow up.
The 2 Willowses.
Well, Rosberg in particular, because he ruined Alonso's race.
Yes, I think he did, yes. But we didn't see it, unfortunately.
Well, I say fortunately.
Fortunately for your case, yeah.
Yeah. Some things you're just better off not... Some things you're just better in life not seeing.
Second position now for Nico Rosberg as she's taken Vandoorne, and now Kimi Raikkonen versus Felipe Massa along the same straight, exactly the same time, takes 4th position off of his teammate. But Vandoorne now having a go back at Rosberg, so it's back and forth stuff between all sorts of teammates at Hockenheim.
I'd absolutely fall off my chair if those two took each other out.
Well, there was precedent. The 2008 race here at Hockenheim, where the 2 Guy Racings collided with each other going into the Ostkurve whilst battling for second, and I could not believe it.
I remember that very well. It's something that Guy, I think, is very reluctant to open a discussion on. But I have very fond memories of that because I feel like that was the point in the 2008 season that really helped my team. It made the difference. I think it was the start of my team heading towards both championships. Yes, that's true. That incident seemed to energise Button and yourself. Well, here's the 2 Willows going at it once again. Vandoorne versus Rosberg. It's the Belgian on the inside, and he's got Rosberg cleanly this time. And just a quick one on that 2008 Guy Racing incident. The 2 drivers in question were Robert Kubica and Christian Klien. And when asked what happened, Klien said that I overtook him cleanly. I think that comment enough would be in real life would be enough to get him sacked.
Yeah.
Imagine saying that to someone like Günther Steiner.
Yeah.
It does sound like something out of Drive to Survive.
Yeah. And it's worth bearing in mind as well that Rosberg has pitted, so this is kind of trashing Rosberg's strategy a little bit, battling with Vandoorne, because Vandoorne's yet to pit.
I'm not complaining.
You're not complaining at all.
Well, actually, one thing I will complain about is I don't think it's compromising his race enough.
And ironically, the driver it's helping is Alonso, because the gap between Vandoorne and Alonso was only 10 seconds as they crossed the line last time out. Now they're side by side once again, and this is going to bring Raikkonen back into play. In fact, the gap is 12 seconds between Vandoorne and Alonso.
It kind of makes me feel even more bitter than knowing that Alonso was on a 1-stop, because who knows, it might have been a strategic battle. Also, shunt from Raikkonen behind, that's going to shunt off Vandoorne. Not really the most ideal of Willows, but I'll take it.
And I've just seen Alonso take Kubica. Here is a bit of action on that. Up the inside, going into Jim Clark chicane, and that's a clean move for Fernando Alonso.
Ooh,
mostly. A bit of a slight.
I think Kubica was very close on the exit there.
And he's having to go back at Alonso going down into the Ostkurve. And that's the position regained for Kubica. And I think in the background we saw Pick and Button having a scrap. And Button has got past Pick. No, it's Hamilton getting past Pick, my apologies.
Mass is due in the pits from 5th place.
Surely on a one-stop strategy, as we've now just about hit half distance. And to take that tight line going into the penultimate corner, it looks quite slow, but they are preparing for the pit lane. So, slowing down to 81 kilometres an hour goes the Brazilian, pole sitter for this race. Only a second career pole position. I find that astonishing somehow.
Yeah, Massa's kind of been a driver that's been largely, and Alonso's in the pits as well. Massa's been a driver that's been, I think, in FF1M times, massively overlooked, because he had 2 seasons in a row recently, I think 2012 and 2013, where he was on the sidelines, he didn't get a full-time FF1M seat. And I think there may have been even another season before that, because I remember there was this FF2M season where he absolutely dominated. It was a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah, that was with me actually in 2008, and then I promoted him into the main seat for 2009, and then 2010 he was absent once again.
Yeah, strange that. I must say. I mean, I'm surprised that no team really, decided to take up his services for those respective seasons.
Yeah, he's had by far the most checkered FF1M career, not just in this era, but in the Masters as well, because he raced in Season 1, was absent for 2, 3 and 4, and then came back in Season 5 with me once again, and scored a podium on his first race. So,
not bad.
Yeah, he's a very checkered career, is Massa, but he looks as if he's found a happy home in Meister.
And whilst you were talking there's a car off in the background there. It's a GRM. Yeah, another GRM going off.
Valtteri Bottas, under pressure from both Andrews.
Drivers have been making a lot of mistakes. Also, in midst of that, Alonso has jumped Kubit, so he's done the undercut. That's good. That's good.
Up to a temporary 11th, but that might be a lot higher, as that was Van Dorn coming into the pits, and Magnussen as well. So now the one-stop strategies are taking place, and although they're rejoining quite far down the order, other drivers have to make a pit stop. Picks up in 5th somehow. He's yet to make a pit stop, but that's nice.
Screenshot it now.
I'll screenshot it now before his engine blows up.
Meanwhile, Gonzalez has got the momentum here on Van Dorn, although he is due in the pits this lap.
For his first...
that's tight.
Van Dorn braving it round the outside, but so is Gonzalez. The side-by-side once again down the second long straight.
Oh shit.
Alonso versus Magnussen. Was it?
Oh,
that's awkward.
Just goes from bad to worse, doesn't it?
So what happens here? Alonso dummies Magnussen up the inside, and yeah, just one of those incidents. Yeah.
Magnussen was very lucky not to flip there.
Yeah, very lucky.
Dear.
Yeah, just one of those incidents. I can't really put it down to anything other than a racing incident.
Yeah, Alonso's not getting any points. Too many collisions. It's turning out to be a disaster. It's turning out to be a disaster, this race.
Pit getting delayed by Gonzalez. So we're in the wars with each other.
A little bit of payback there, maybe.
And this is Yoshida about to make a pit stop. This is probably his first scheduled stop, although his early problem meant that he could convert it into a 2-stop strategy. So Yoshida's not done a bad recovery.
I'm glad we've mentioned Yoshida, because if he's, as long as Vettel holds on for the win, his car holds on, and Yoshida's getting points as well, then my team's going to take a massive hit this race. It's basically going to undo the good result of Silverstone. Yeah,
and I think the collision. That was an FJR, I think, locking up quite badly, which is Pick. That's put Pick under pressure from Cooper Lee. Pick's on the verge of points, but Lee is going to see to that. But Lee has got another pit stop to make. Pick does not. Come on, Charlotte, hold it on together. There you go. That's nicely done, sort of.
Why couldn't Alonso and Magnussen keep it that clean?
Yeah, it did damage both their races, because they're now down in 16th and 17th.
You don't say, Sherlock.
And Pick locking up again and braving it round the outside of Lee at the Ost curve. That's a good effort. So just about holding on to the points, even though it doesn't really need to fight, although Bottas is in 10th now and made his pit stop.
Yellow flag on the map. I don't know who's gone off, who's tumbling down the leaderboard.
That was at the stadium. Oh, slight contact between Pick and Bottas, and that's put Cooper Lee back up to 8th.
Hamilton. I think I saw Hamilton. Yeah, Hamilton's in trouble. His name's dropping down the leaderboard.
I can see that, yes. We're about to see the replay of that in 4th position as well. Lonely 4th, a mistake he didn't really need to make. And not quite in the gravel, so he could theoretically rejoin, but will it be exactly the same as Sainz? As this is Yoshida versus Bottas, and that's a position gain for Yoshida.
Yeah, I think Hamilton got going again.
Yep, so is he crossed the line now in 7th position? Well, he's not. Yes, he's crossed the line now, so just about holding it up to 7th position as Pick having another gun. Way too quickly there.
Going to get a bad exit. Yoshida should get past here. And there's also a GRM up there, Chuff.
Yeah, and I think both have made their stops as well, so that's cost Pick a little bit. And that's Bottas.
Bottas might get them both, is he? Oh.
Well, he was having to think about Yoshida going into Jim Clark, but now he can have a serious enough think. But now Pick's back in the slipstream, and with mode 3 underneath him, he might be able to do something about Bottas. Indeed he is, up the inside. Can he keep it clean this time going into the Ost curve? No brake lock-up this time, and that is 10th place for Pick.
It almost feels like every wheel-to-wheel battle has been clean, bar any driver, any battle that's involved either of my drivers. even Gonzalez had a bit of a small moment with some other driver, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been one of those races where the track's just been a bit slippery and drivers are getting themselves into a bit of bother. That's a position gained for Gonzalez.
Woohoo! P11.
P11, and he probably has got a quicker car compared to Pick, so I expect Pick to be mincemeat. As Lee comes into the pits.
And so too Hamilton.
So that mistake really did cost Lewis Hamilton, so this is now the battle for 7th position between Yoshida and Pick, who's having a bit of an adventure. I'm enjoying this from Pick.
And Gonzalez is coming under pressure from Bottas, but Pick and Yoshida alongside.
This could go badly wrong, but it's gone well.
Stays in 7th.
And he's pulled out a little bit of a gap over Yoshida as well, who's now going to come under a bit of pressure from Bottas, so Pick can use this to try and pull away a little bit. There's Bottas, now up the inside of Yoshida into the Ost curve.
He's locked it up.
Big lock-up, and that's cost him because Yoshida's hung around the outside, and now Gonzalez is now back in prime position to have a go.
I hope. He's in the slipstream here. Got the momentum. He should get past here. Although he might have a compromised line going out of this chicane. Bottas is very close here still.
So you could have a go back going into the stadium, but Mode 3 versus Mode 1 Mugen is the slipstream. Here comes Bottas, and Gonzalez just about hanging on around the outside.
Wow, a wheel-to-wheel battle with either of my drivers that didn't result in a collision. There's another yellow flag. Who's that gone off?
I think it was Hülkenberg.
That's the second. This will be the second time he's gone off, and I think he's gone off a big way. This time he's going to surely beat this. Yeah, 2 wheels in actual fact. Big
shunt for Nico Hülkenberg. So not a good race for the Mitchell driver, former 2-time race winner at Hockenheim, as the two Meisters are going back into combat with each other once again. Massa versus Raikkonen.
Yeah, Hülkenberg crashing out, costing me development points as well. For the engine.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. So we have Sainz Mugen out, Vern Mugen out, Perez Ilmor out, and Hülkenberg Climax out. So it's not a total disaster for yourself.
You sure about that?
In terms of development. It's a bit of a disaster for Mugen, actually, because Sainz and Verne are both out. And Kubica flying past Felipe Massa, going down into the Ayrton Senna chicane. So that's 5th position for Robert, and all pit stops made for himself. Worth mentioning, Vettel, Rosberg and Raikkonen have made their second stops.
And is this going to be Gonzalez going to get in the points?
Versus Yoshida for 8th position, down into Jim Clark. And that was another clean move for Gonzalez. He's on a roll.
Yeah, I feel like single-handedly Rosberg completely ruined any chance of a good result today. I mean, Gonzalez had the technical problem, but Alonso got chopped by Rosberg, which we didn't see on camera, and as a result of that, he ended up further back. And there's a blown up!
There it is! The shake and bake engine has blown up, so for once, Willows have good luck because Rosberg's now in the lead and Van Dorn is up to 2nd.
Way to interrupt.
Perfect moment for an interruption because that is a massive Megatron fire.
Look, I don't take any pleasure in this because my team's race has been atrocious.
I think I just saw your Pinocchio nose extend all the way to Nottinghamshire.
But gotta be honest, that's a big let-off. That is a massive, massive let-off.
A big save for Fernando Alonso. As into the lead, there he goes, Rosberg.
And it's a Willows 1-2 as well.
Yes, and Rosberg not having won a race at Hockenheim before, so this could work out quite well if his luck holds on. And here's Yoshida going through.
Is he going to go off? Is he going to make it a double DNF for the shake and bake? The answer is yes.
So double DNF for shake and bake for the first time since Nürburgring, I believe. In fact, I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, definitely a crash for Yoshida.
I was going to say that long ago.
First double DNF since. I'm still having a look. You commentate on the action while I have a look. Yeah,
sure. Your driver, I tell you what, Charles Pete, he's had a great race. You know, he's stayed out of trouble, solid 6th place. I mean, I'm not sure if Gonzalez is catching him or not. I expect Gonzalez to, otherwise there are some big worries. But yeah, it's been a great race for Charles Pete. Easily his best race of the season so far. I do hope for your sake and his sake that his engine, his car can hold on and get his first points of the season on the board.
And if he does, then that means that there'll be only one driver yet to score points, and amazingly, that'll be Jenson Button.
Former champion of mine. That's saying a lot.
And the driver who won last year's race at Hockenheim as well, so massive, massive, unwelcome turnaround for the 2008 champion. And yeah, so...
Indeed.
So yes, it was Nürburgring when Shake and Bake's had a double ENF. So Germany not proving a happy hunting ground for Shake and Bake all round.
It's ironic because I think I could be mistaken here, but I think Megatron is German.
I might have to double check that actually.
Please do, because I'm not entirely sure. I just got a hunch for some reason.
I'll double check that. You can commentate on Alonso's possible overtake into the points.
He's pulling alongside Bottas now to the right-hand side. Is he going to have the horsepower to get by before the braking zone? And the answer is yes. Now, can he get a good exit here and prevent Bottas from a counter-attack? Bottas is still very close, and we know the slipstream is quite effective here. And it is very effective. He's pulling alongside again here. That Mugen power, even though of course that is a customer Mugen, that is very telling how much power that engine has got. In fact, it can overtake a full ERS climax. Lap 40 now Rosberg is on, and is there going to be contact here? Bottas has gone wide. They're going to rejoin into the path of Alonso, and he holds him up, and yet somehow he still ends up ahead. And now Magnussen's all over the back of Alonso.
Ironically, really, but the wrong side. Now he's up the inside of Alonso going into the stadium, but not close enough.
Yeah, not far enough, but
Right, so I looked up Megatron, and the first thing it came up with was a Transformers character. So I typed in Megatron engine, and it is a derivative of BMW.
Yeah. I was right then.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling, and I think Alonso's going to lose a chance of a point here because Magnussen's getting past, being held up by Bottas, and the FGR is through. Are they going to collide again? Not this time. These two can't really be separated this race.
No, they already collided once at that very chicane, and Magnussen showing Alonso how to do it cleanly. But here comes Alonso, about to do probably a similarly clean move.
Magnussen's got the slipstream of Bottas, but not enough, I don't think, to stay ahead.
Not quite, so it is Alonso who effectively maintains 9th position.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think Peak has got the measure of Gonzalez. I haven't really seen. Well, the gap's come down a little bit this last lap, but not massively. And this is speaking of Peak, he's going to make a move actually on Felipe Massa for 5th. It could get him there, or is it? Oh, contact!
Oh, good grief! Now that's put you under pressure. But Massa's had a slow exit.
Gonzalez is not close enough here to capitalise. I think Peak might still be all right here because Massa had a compromised exit. Gonzalez might fancy his chances here for getting past. Is he going to get past a pair of them?
Oh, yes, he is.
And the answer is yes, he is. Wow, good stuff, Tomas.
Yes, that's 5th position for Gonzalez, and well, still 6th for Pick, but now the 5th and 7th.
Oh, Bottas has gone off into the gravel, and that's going to gift Alonso an easy 8th place, and Bottas loses 2 positions to Magnussen as well. And here we are with Rosberg on the penultimate lap. Will we see a repeat of Road America or not? That is the question.
Well, for Willow's sake, I hope not, but because he's been desperately unlucky.
I can imagine Joseph Willows after that. His heart rate.
Yeah, imagine if we had both of you in the commentary box once again. I couldn't imagine a more contrasting sort of emotions between you two, and a bit of a war of words as well.
Yeah, because I do feel a bit bitter about Rosberg on being on course to win this race because I think Rosberg was on a 2-stopper and Alonso was on a 1-stop, and we might have seen a strategic battle towards the end, which is a shame. I tried to say earlier, but I think the Vettel retirement interrupted me. But what I will take from this, you know what, if there is, from a championship point of view, if there was any team that, besides my team, obviously, that I would like or be ideal to get a 1-2, it's the team that's currently last in the championship.
The Willows, indeed, yes. Where on earth will that move up in the championship order? I think it will actually propel them way past. It'll definitely propel them up to 6th, I reckon.
At least.
Because Andrew sit on 26 points, Willows on 13, and 20 points will move Willows up to 33. So they're going to rocket up the order if Rosberg doesn't crash at the stadium, which he hasn't done, and if Van Dorn does the same thing as well.
Think he's going to hold on here?
Yeah, there's just one more potential bogey corner, which is the Sud curve. He's got round that one, no problem. So, out of the final corner to take his first victory since Malaysia last season, Nico Rosberg wins his home race at Hockenheim. Well done, Willows.
GG.
And surely Van Dorn will come home in 2nd position. And Raikkonen, first customer to be running at the end. Highest of the lot in 3rd, probably. Let's have a look at the race result. So, confirmation, Rosberg, Van Dorn and Raikkonen. So it's number 13 for Rosberg.
Only 13 wins?
He got most of them with me, actually, in that championship winning year of 2006. And then a few more in between. And going through the rest of the result, we got Kubica 4th, Thomas Gonzalez up in 5th, so...
Solid recovery drive.
Yeah, solid from both, actually, considering what Alonso went through. And Charles Pic got some points. Well done, lad.
Big well done indeed.
Yes, and both Meisters in the points as well, 3rd and 7th, so that'll be useful points for them.
Interesting. Massa was like almost half a minute behind Kimi.
Yeah, he did have a few issues during the race, I think, but
what I'll say is, what's interesting about that graphic is most of the retirements were crashes, and yet the only retirement not to be a crash was probably the biggest it could get.
Sebastian Vettel from the race lead, yes, and Gonzalez had that mechanical issue as well. It happened quite earlier on, so yeah, 5th is definitely a strong recovery drive for him.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it was diagnosed as. I think it was throttle.
I think so, yeah. Or electrical, that's normally a common one in Grand Prix 4. But anyway, the championship, Alonso extends his lead by 1 point somehow.
A massive 1 point.
That 1 point, though, I have experience of this. That could be massive, because I lost the championship by 1 point in 2013 and 2 points in 2011. So I know exactly how these points can make a difference.
And 1 point is the gap between Gonzalez and Raikkonen for 3rd and 4th as well. And Tornado extends their lead in the championship now over Shake and Bake. It's now 37 points. And Meister hang on to 3rd ahead of Gajera. I think effectively extend 3rd over Gajera.
I must say I do find Shake and Bake on 69 points very attractive.
Yeah, that will please their sponsors.
You're right about Willows jumping up to 6th as well.
Rocket up to 6th ahead of Andrew, FJR, Pedersen, Mitchell and Exelite. So, that was the German Grand Prix. The next race will be in Hungary for the Hungaroring, completely different circuit to the Hockenheim ring. So, from the two of us, we shall see you then.